Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Off the Record, the podcast where we share real stories and insider insights from the world of electronic music. Today's guest is Wesley Verheij. And Wesley is a music producer, label owner, and serial entrepreneur. Before focusing fully on music, he worked in business and marketing. With the eyes of a businessman and the ears of a music producer, he now has numerous successful enterprises. Sekora Radio reaches over 4 million listeners worldwide. The label has over 369 releases to its name. And as UOAK or Unseen Oak, Wesley performs regularly. Wesley, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited about our talk. I guess I'm just going to ask you a lot of questions about your experience and your career and see if we can inspire some music producers.
All right.
Talents. So let's start at the beginning. Would you like to tell us where your journey in music began?
I think I started music production, DJing. I started a little bit earlier when I was about 19, just as a hobby. Then around 21, I think, was music production. I started while I was studying economics and business here in Rotterdam at Erasmus University. And for me, it was always in the beginning, it was a hobby. But I was very fortunate enough to go to conferences early on. Back in my days, it was only like Dance Fair had the biggest conference, most accessible. So that started around the same time I started producing. So I basically taught myself how to make music. We didn't really have tutorials as much as you do now. Now you can go on YouTube, you can find anything you want. But that wasn't really the case back then, because this is like 13 years ago, I think. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I taught myself, and then a couple years later, I was fortunate enough to meet some high-profile DJs that really mentored me in a way, and that gave me the confidence to pursue this as a serious career. I was still studying, and then slowly towards the end of my studies and during my masters, I was getting more DJ gigs. My tracks were getting a bit of attention online on SoundCloud, back when SoundCloud was really a king. Mm-hmm. And my tracks got played by some big DJs at festivals, etc. So that's when I thought, okay, I could maybe make a professional career out of this. So right after I graduated, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give myself a couple years until I'm 30 to make a full-time income out of music. And if by the time I reach 30 and I don't make it, then I can still get a quote-unquote serious job.
Yep.
But yeah, I always had a big aversion against office jobs.
All right.
Ironically, I now have an office job, but it's on my own terms.
Yep.
So that's completely different. But I just wanted to have the freedom and then combine that with music. That has always been my biggest passion and dream. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate that that came to be. So, yeah.
Great. And you say you gave yourself kind of an ultimatum by the age of 30.
Yeah.
So at which age did you reach your goal? Did you say, yes,
so the ultimatum came from, to give a bit of a background, I mean, I studied economics and business, and every time people ask me what I did for studies, they're kind of surprised I went the music path and became they always call me a DJ, but I'm like, yeah, it's more complicated. I mean, like the producers out there, they know, right?
Yes, yeah.
If you make music and you have never touched the decks before, people are still going to call you a DJ. So that's just the way it is. But yeah, I was 25 when I graduated with my master's. Mm-hmm. And yeah, in the last year, I mean, anyone studying, especially around here, there's a lot of opportunities with big companies. I mean, even here on this area, right? You have like Unilever and Coolblue and all those big ones. Like all my friends got picked up by big companies right after they graduated, and you're already talking to a lot of people that are influential at those companies. They're really recruiting you when you're in your masters, especially with like economics and those type of degrees. So it's very easy to go into a traineeship and then really dedicate your life to, basically what you studied. So for me, it was a bit of a paradox. On the one hand, you have these opportunities to, go from studying to making a decent income and really building a career in business. And then on the other hand, you want to follow your passion, but it doesn't really make any money. So what are you going to do? So I thought, well, I'll give myself the ultimatum that I'm going to do this, but I'm going to have to go 100% on music in order to try and make it, because I know if I were to work at like a big multinational, then all my attention would go there, because I'm a perfectionist. If I do something, I want to do it right. I cannot be in a big corporate job and then deliver half work, because then I would go all the way, but then I wouldn't have time to make music anymore. So I figured, you know what? I need to make it before I turn 30 to have a full-time income. And otherwise, I can still get that job at a big company. It's not too late. You're not too old, right, to go into that segment of your business, basically. Yeah. So I think, I mean, looking at, because I was still living in like a shared apartment, student housing, so I didn't have much costs every month. I kept that really low. And my cost of living was really low, so I didn't really need much to get by full time. Of course, eventually you want, a nicer house and a car and all that, but back then I really didn't need much. So like $1,000 a month was already the goal to, pay for the student housing and all that. Yep. So to really say, okay, full time, support myself, I think I was like 27. So within 2 years after graduating, I was already making enough to pay for everything.
And what was the main source of income during that time? Did you DJ, or were you producing tracks for other artists?
Yeah, I was doing multiple things. So I did get involved with some ghost productions where people paid a flat fee. That's always nice. Most of that Spotify streaming royalties. That was slowly gaining traction. Some YouTube income as well. Mostly like online stuff. And then I was also doing DJ gigs now and then. So that's also like a nice bonus, I say. Yep. And I did feel like when I decided to go full time on music, I felt like after my studies, there was like this big gap, because you completely alienate yourself from people all of a sudden. You don't have your lectures anymore. You don't have these social events you do with other students. So I noticed I was sitting at home a lot making music, but I wasn't more productive than when I was actually studying. So I figured, you know what, I need to surround myself socially. So I need to do something on the side. So that's when I decided to start an internship part-time for a music conference called Dance Fair. Yeah, and that's, I mean, it didn't pay much, but I got paid in lots of discounts with like software companies. I got like all the software, everything for free. Yeah,
and good for networking as well, right?
Yeah, for networking as well. Although I don't really like that word, because, well, I mean, we can get into that later. Yep. It was definitely nice, because in a very short time I got to know a lot of people, but you also need to have the product to make it happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're all talk and you got nothing to offer, then, people can think you're a nice person, but you're not really going to get far. Yeah. So the networking takes part after you really honored your skill. Yeah. And then usually when you're good enough at something, people will find you anyway. So
it's true, but it sounds like you were very aware of needing both, right? So you needed the production, the good music, but also the people to, I guess, put it out.
Yeah, well, I felt like it wasn't as calculated as it might sound. I mean, I just wanted to give something back to the music community through interning or working for Dance Fair. And that's when I got in touch with the owner real quick. When we became really close, he became a mentor to me. He taught me a lot of things, and I quickly went from intern to like marketing director there. It was still part-time, so that was perfect. So it gave me enough time to focus on my own productions, build my label, and like, okay, figure this whole thing out. Like, how are others doing this? How am I able to make a full-time income out of this thing? How can I build my business while still working on my passion, that is creating music?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dancer really helped a lot, connection wise, and I feel like it's a bit like a diversification, and the business side comes very natural to me. I really enjoy it. Some
Maybe
people
that's
they
the study that you also did.
yeah,
It
yeah, maybe.
supports that.
Yeah, maybe. I think over the years, and especially the last year, I really went down to the essentials and tried to figure out, okay, what am I good at? Not have these dreams of, oh, I want to be that person, I want to be this, I want to be. Not that I really had that. I've never really had that, to be honest. But I really started to focus on, okay, what are my best qualities, and how can I make sure that I work on that all the time as efficient as possible.
And what would you say your qualities are? What did you discover in that process?
Well, I'm creative, but I've also learned that I'm not 100% full-on artist. So I have friends, for example, who completely live music. Good friend of mine, Chris, he just sits at his piano for like 3 to 4 hours a day with his cats, lives in the woods. Great person, and he's trying. Like, I'm helping him with the business side now, but like in terms of artistic, I sometimes, I take a lot of inspiration on how he does that. And I kind of wish I had more qualities like he does, because he lives the full artist life. And I always thought I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be like, ooh,
Yep.
And then you start to realize, well, that's not who I really am as a person. And it's funny because through our conversations, I noticed that he wants to be more like me, like the business person. And yeah, through these talks, you really got to understand, well, it's important to just understand who you are as a person, what your strongest qualities are. In my case, I notice I really focus on the things that give me energy, that I can do. Well, you can call me any time of day for this type of stuff, and I really enjoy connecting with people, being social, but not just a chit chat. I like to go in depth about things. I feel like I can really give everything like an analytical but also philosophical approach. I feel like I can generate ideas on the fly without having to put in any work. So I see opportunities everywhere in everything. And that's also, I guess, the kryptonite, because then you try to get involved with too many things. And if you get involved with too many things, it might lead you away from your path.
Yeah.
So I've had to focus on, okay, the things like my path, the things that I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, it's like idea generation. So that also comes with making music. But I notice like I would say I'm pretty good as a music producer. But I think I'm even better in instructing musicians on what to do and how to do it. So, I mean, I've had some singing lessons, but not to become a singer myself, but to understand how this works, because it's an instrument. You have to, practice every day, just like a pianist would, or a music producer would, or a guitarist would. But to understand all these instruments, it helps you as a producer and also engineer to instruct people on how to sing. So, and that's what I can do. I can write lyrics, I write songs. I don't know how to sing them properly, but I sing them good enough to give instructions to someone that can then re-sing everything, and then that can make it into a song.
Yeah.
Same goes with music production. Although the engineering part, like mixing and mastering, I'm really good at that. But I'm also good at when I just have someone like a pianist or guitarist that comes to the studio, I let them, like, you go be creative. You go be the full artist, and then I will instruct you on how to do things. Like, I'm not a musically trained artist, so I play piano a little bit, and I can play harmonies and all that, and I can hear when it sounds right. But I would not be able to play something on the fly like some of my friends can, like the real artists can, right? Like Chris, he can just sit by the piano, write something beautiful, and it would take me a lot more time to do. I could still do it, but I feel like my strength really is in like sitting with someone else and telling them how to do it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're learning enough about it to be able to communicate in their language, right? So you're learning with the singing, so you can communicate to a singer and you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're acknowledging where your skill lies and where perhaps someone else can do it better.
Yeah, I understand I'm not a singer. So I will always need someone else to sing the songs for me. Well, maybe not always. Like to a certain degree, some styles of singing, you don't really need to be like a very well-trained singer, to be honest. But in most cases you do. So and it's helpful to then be able to at least, write some of the lyrics and all that. So the idea generation of what's the concept, what is the song about? Is it something that can relate to people? Will they think of whatever when they hear this song? And the lyrics can be very deeply connecting to people, and that's eventually what music is. So that's what I've learned, and that's what I'm really good at. And then I've had to learn how to find the right people to take it a step further, so it becomes an even better song.
So do you think these are strengths that kind of come into play with the music label that you started? Are these skills that you can...
Yeah, for sure. Because I listen to a lot of music, including demos that get sent to us. Most of the time I do like the final checkup for demos that we release. Even though we have our A&Rs who do a great job, I like to be involved in the process. And also with some of the artists that I have a very close relationship with, they tend to send me music as well. So I listen to a lot of music. Also in my own time, I listen to a lot of music that is not related to our label. Can be any type of genre really, but always discovering new inspirations, new sounds, new ideas of, okay, I could connect this vocal style with maybe like a guitar sample and with melodic house and stuff that we usually do, and then try and see if you can. So that this way I generate ideas that I can then give to artists that we work with on a regular basis, or it's stuff that I take into the studio or I take it into collaborations. And it definitely helps me with the label 100%. Yeah.
And I'm quite curious about the label because your label is Sekora. I did a little research online that the name is from 2 types of trees. And I think in almost everything you do, nature has an important role.
Yeah.
You're partnered with Trees for All. Trees for All, that's the one.
Non-profit in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so I'm curious about the connection to nature, how this returns in the label, and I guess also the partnership.
Yeah, to start with the nature part, I think I've always had a fascination for like beautiful scenery, even when I would be inside or in school, and I was always the kid by the window, like staring outside and just like dreaming, right? So I figured, even though I've lived in the city for a long time, I figured I always wanted to be outdoors or be in just beautiful scenery. So the nature part really resonated with me, and over the years, it also helped me clear my thoughts, clear my mind, and really give me inspiration. So I figured I wanted to do something that is nature related, but then with electronic music. It also reflects on my own name, which is UOAK, Unseen Oak. So I wanted to create a concept around what I was already doing with my artist brand, but then make it something that turned more into a community. So something that we could build out, something that could live way past myself. Something that can grow on its own, like a tree or something like that, right? So I wanted to make everything nature and tree related. So I just really went into depth on thinking, okay, how can what's the story, right? What's the core principle of what I want to represent with the label? And and then I just came up with the sequoia. So I go to California a lot. I really like it there. And the sequoia trees are the largest trees in mass in the world. I've been there many times. I've seen them, and like just walking through those forests is insane and really puts everything into perspective, and you realize like how small we are compared to some other things on this planet, like living things on this planet, like trees. So that's one part. So I had the Sequoia idea, and then the cherry blossom, the Sakura, which is Japanese for cherry blossom. It's always something that I've also thought was beautiful. So it's like, okay, these two words, combine them, and that turn into Sekora. So and then the slogan was where nature meets electronic music.
Yeah. And
so
it all returns. I've seen in the artworks, in the track titles. It's a very strong theme.
Yeah. So with the artworks, what we always do is we take like a landscape or scenery, usually mountain ridge or stuff like that, and then combine that with a circle. So the circle is also something that's in the Sekora logo, and the circle is, I don't know, it's like this perfect geometry thing, and for some reason it sort of reflects on, everything is full circle of life type of thing. But in order to make it not too only nature related, I wanted to have the circle that's out of proportion, different colors, so it looks artificial, which is the electronic music part. So we have the nature part, which is the mountain ridge, the scenic, whatever. And then the circle it feels right, but also artificial, which it is. And that's electronic music. It's all synthesizer based, like these samples are synthesized. So that's the artificial part. And then combined with organic, natural sounds, like, Foley ambient sounds, acoustic guitars, piano. I use piano a lot, also in my own production. And I try to have people implement organic sounds into the music, because that's really what makes Sekora stand out from all the other generic melodic house that's out there. Yeah.
I think that's great. I personally love the blend between the two.
Thanks.
I have a question that comes to mind throughout our conversation. You mentioned a little while back that you started working from your skills, not perhaps what you wanted to do, but what you were good at. Here, there's also a link to nature and full circle. I guess my question is, do you believe that the success of an artist comes from them being as true to themselves and their skill as possible? Or is it a lot that's really, I want this hard work? How are those two balanced in your opinion?
I think it's a bit of both. So to get back to the skill thing, that's not really how I started. Now it might seem like it, but it was a long journey, to be honest. I looked at, when I started out producing, I looked at, big festivals, like, oh man, that's so sick. I want to play at those festivals, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. That slowly turned into, I want to make music for a living. And then over time realized, okay, if I want to make, music full time, I also need to find a way to make money full time. And that's where a lot of artists don't figure it out. And then they end up having to get a job and all that to support their hobby. Because I mean, even if you get paid, if you're not able to live off your music, you're still a hobbyist to a certain degree, which is nothing bad. But if you really, and I always warn people also about this, right? So they have this glamorous idea of, oh, I want to be full-time artist. Well, really think hard if you really want that. And then if the answer is still yes, and you're crazy enough to do it, then you can probably make it, but it will need full dedication, and you're not going to be able to make it with half work. So that was just set the record straight, really. And for me, it was this combination of, okay, I want absolute freedom and financial freedom as well. And it would be my absolute dream to be able to do that through music. So I, over the years, had to adapt a little bit.
Maybe the dream became more realistic when you became aware of what it actually meant, right? A full-time career as an artist, or other ways where the money comes from. What's the most, the best
I think
option?
it's something that eventually, as an artist, you are a business. And I think the sooner you take apart the you as a person and you as an artist. So I used to make music under my own name, and I was so involved with the music, and it was so loaded. It was like a part of my identity. It's almost like ego, right? That's attached to your artist profile.
Yeah.
And that the thing is, once you start thinking about it that way, then you're very how do you say subjective to feedback. So also to negative feedback.
It will feel more personal because it's your name.
So if someone says, "Oh, your song sucks," you're gonna think, "Oh, I suck." Well, that's not the case. They just don't like the song, and maybe your song does suck, especially when you just start out. Usually, your songs are gonna suck, right? So, and the sooner you can let go of that and think of, no, it's not. They're not feedbacking or they're not judging me as a person. It's just this one product, and how can I view this product that I have created in a sense that, okay, let's make it better. Let's take feedback from people. Okay, what how do you think we can make this product better? And then, in the beginning, you're the one that's making this product, but over time you might start working with other people. You might start collaborating. I mean, like almost all of the greatest artists or musicians in the world that have ever lived have collaborated with other people. No one has done everything by themselves, and even the ones that claim to do everything by themselves, they still have influences or they get feedback from people that they trust, in order to make their product that they are creating a better product. And I think as soon as you start understanding that concept, that you as an artist are creating a product and you are a business, it becomes easier to start treating it as a business and then also start monetizing it so that you can then fulfill that dream of being a full-time artist or producer. And I think that's something that I figured out and then turned that into a label. And, now I've had a lot of, when it came to my own music, I also had my insecurities of it's not good enough. And you hear this other songs like, oh, that's so good. But I've slowly started to let that go and just decide, okay, no, I just want to focus on building something.
Yep. And I guess the advice is for artists to maybe take a little distance, right, from what they create and to step back.
Yeah. To really see it as, oh, it's, I just created the product. And then to really objectively look at it, like let it go, objectively look at it, like, is this a good song or is this a good product? And then decide, okay, do I want to send this to a label? And they might decline it. And it does a couple things. First of all, it gives you the ability to have a third person perspective on your own work. So that's good for then when you give it a rest and you come back to the studio like a couple days later or a week later, you can listen to your own song and be objective about it and think like, okay, bass line might need a little bit of boost in the low end, or these chords, they might need to pop out a bit more. Vocal needs to come out a bit more. You can really objectively listen to your song with fresh ears and also judge it this way. So you can then grow from it and make your product better or make your song better. But also then when other people don't like it, you feel less attached to this one song in particular. And then when they decline it, you can be like, okay, well, that's cool. How can I make it better? And I think a lot of A&Rs as well, including myself, are sometimes holding back a little bit on feedback because people are so attached to it, and they can, like, their ego gets in their own way. A lot of people can't handle feedback, and I'm not saying it's not criticism; it's feedback, right? It's positive feedback. Like, I just say that. Trying to help someone, right?
Yep. It's with good intentions.
Yes. Yep. Constructive feedback. That's what I want to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as long as something is constructive feedback, but still some people cannot handle that. So you have to be a bit careful with it.
Yep.
And I've noticed that a lot. So like one of the first things I always tell artists is like really learn to take feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, see, like anyone that has something to say about your track or your situation, whatever, just see them as consultants. Some people are going to say something negative about you. Some people are going to say something positive. And both take it as, oh, you're consulting me with my music and whatever. And then you can like distance from it and it won't hurt you as much. And then it can just keep you going, right? It can fuel you to become an even better producer.
And do you think producers should, this is a question I have myself, because sometimes, for example, friends and family, close people can also give feedback. How should artists kind of filter whose feedback to take on board if they get a lot of different feedback?
Yeah, that's funny. So I have this concept. It's called the mom check.
The mom check.
The mom check. Yeah. So you have friends that can produce, most likely if you're a producer, and you have people that have absolutely no clue on what everything means, right? So these people are also very valuable because they can become your end user, right? They're your target audience, maybe. So what I do in order to see if a song has like streaming potential, if it's catchy enough, I send it to my mom. And if my mom likes it, then I know it's going to do well on streaming.
Okay.
And if it's a club track and my mom doesn't like it, I know it could possibly be a banger, but I'm not going to take her advice on it.
Because she doesn't listen to that genre.
She doesn't understand it. It's not her thing. But when she's like, oh, this sounds like fun, whatever. Oh, our moms can be, right? But she's also honest with me. And I think that's most important. And she doesn't like it, she'll just tell me. But then it's not for her. It's nothing personal. But when it's catchy and she's like, oh, yeah, I like this. Because she's like, ooh, happy melodies, whatever. So then I know, okay, we have a winner. So that's, for me, that's the mom check. And I always tell artists, like, find a group of friends that are super honest with you. They will just give you shit if you send them a really bad song. And also get some producer friends that know how to give constructive feedback on the details of your track. Don't ask for feedback from someone that doesn't understand music. You can, however, get their opinion. Just ask them, like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, listen to it. The vibe, is it good? They're not going to give you technical analysis of your track and be like, well, maybe you should low cut this sound, whatever. No, don't do that.
Yep.
Just send it to them like, yo, are you vibing to this? Yes or no?
Yep.
So like a vibe check, do that with your friends. Maybe play it when you have some friends over, Also get the awkwardness out.
Yeah.
Because it's always super awkward when you like,
it's not the final mix. It's draft number 3. Don't worry. I still have to do mastering. Yeah.
Never do that. Don't do that.
Let it go.
Also, like, sometimes artists send us tracks and they're like, yeah, well, it's not mixed or mastered. And like, if you already know this now, then go and mix and master it. Like, don't give me excuses beforehand. So, if you want honest opinion from someone, then take it on the chin. Don't come with excuses beforehand. Be like, well, I still need to change the melody, this and that. Well, then go do it before you send it to me, right?
Yeah. So
no excuses beforehand. If you want opinion or feedback, just send the track and just say like, hey, what do you think of this? If it's just a vibe, then we have something called the vibe check. That's like early work in progress demos. But there you can listen, like, does it have potential? Is there something in there that could potentially become a good song?
And then you can improve the technical
and then they
part.
can work on that, right? That's all I take. But if someone comes to me like, oh, it needs a master, it needs like this needs to be tweaked, this or that, like, well, then, like, don't waste my time. Go do that first and then send it. So you have to vibe check people, which in this case is my mom. And then you have your group of producer friends. And if you don't have that already, go and find them. It's super easy. I mean, go on Reddit, Facebook groups, whatever, Discord channels. It's so easy to find other producers that can help you.
Go to Amsterdam Dance Event. Dance Fair doesn't exist anymore, but go to the networking events.
That's nice, to meet people in person. But you don't even need that, honestly. You can just go into Discord. You can just sit in your room for the rest of your life, and you can get a large network of other producers and musicians that do the same thing as you do, and get their feedback. So I do advise people to go to conferences like ADE, but you don't necessarily have to. With the internet, there's so much opportunity now. I do encourage people to go outside their bedroom. So don't
go into nature and connect with the musicians on Discord.
But You get my drift. So you can
Yes,
basically
sure.
do everything. Don't let it be a limit. You know, I sometimes hear people like, "Oh yeah, you're Dutch. You have such a privilege with ADE around the corner." This, I'm like,
Mm.
well,
Yeah.
yes and no. I mean, if that is already your own mindset that you are like envious of other people that might have a better situation than you do, then you might not have the right mindset to make it. You know,
Mm.
I work with people from like this is these guys I know from Kazakhstan, like of all places, right? If you were to tell me like what's like the least favorable country or one of the least favorable countries to live in order to become a successful DJ and music producer, like Kazakhstan is not going to be very high on the top list, you know.
Yeah.
But these guys have an amazing studio. Their music is on point, really good engineers, mixing guys, mastering. Always a pleasure to work with them. Super friendly, super nice. And I guarantee you, these guys aren't thinking, "Oh, I wish I lived in the Netherlands," because you have it so easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So never ever like let that be a limitation. Of course, some people have a bit more luck than others when it comes to where they're born, where they live, the way they look, whatever, you know. But if you put that limitation on yourself, that's up to you, you
Yeah.
know. So don't ever do that. Always work with what you have, with your skills, with the cards that you've been dealt. And if you can do that and have that mindset of I'm going to make it no matter what, and sometimes hardships can even catapult you because it makes it that you have to work even harder than some of the people that have it easy. You know, people that are born wealthy, whatever,
Mm.
they don't have any obstacles, you would say, but their obstacle is that they have it so easy, so they don't have to work hard.
They
And
might
if you
miss the
can,
drive. The
yeah, they don't have that
Yeah.
drive maybe. And if you do, if you have that hardship of, oh, well, I didn't have much money when I was young, or I didn't have this, I didn't have connections, whatever, you have to work harder for it. So go and do it, you know, go and work harder, go outwork everyone, but don't limit yourself with mindset of, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. You know, it
That's great advice, I
doesn't
think.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned before in our conversation mentors, that
Yeah.
they played an important role for you,
Yeah.
maybe even helped you continue.
Yeah.
Could you share a little more about that, and particularly how young artists or producers might find their mentor, but also what kind of relationship did you have with your mentors?
Okay. Yeah. So mentors can be in different kind of ways. Usually, when people think mentor, they imagine like some person holding their hand and really being there in physical for them,
Mm.
right? But I had like multiple mentors. Some people that I've never even met in my life. They have no clue I even exist.
Wow.
So I think in order to get a mentor, you can pick and choose who your mentor is going to be. If you see a character from a movie, right, or you see some music producer out there, whatever, they can be your mentor. It could be even be a fictional character. Like I have movies that I really enjoy, and I take parts of their character and the way that the actor has portrayed this character, and I try to use it as a sort of mentor to think, how would this person do that? And that's the way on how I try to improve myself and to how I try to work on myself, and also become a better person, become a better entrepreneur, become a better business person, become a better friend, better family member, better musician. You can find mentors for everything, and as we all know, like no one is perfect, so you can have a mentor who's like a very good figure in sports, who's like the best ever, but who might be a horrible person in real life, right? So you take parts of that person that you like, and they can be a mentor when it comes to the mindset of how to play a certain sport, but don't take the part of, you know, how they treat their family or whatever, something like that, right? And vice versa. You could have someone in your group of friends who has the most perfect family life, who's like the best father to their kids or the best mother to their kids that you could imagine, but they suck when it comes to business or money or whatever. But they're just generally like a really good person in the way that they treat their kids, for example. And you can take that as a mentorship.
Yep.
So that's how I see mentors. But yeah, I've had multiple. So one of them was, I think my biggest mentor was Norman, who was the owner of Dance Fair. And like he really showed me on how the music industry works and how to deal with certain people as well. So yeah, he really helped me grow like a thick skin, because music industry can be very fast paced, and there's a lot of people trying to get a piece of the pie, but the pie isn't that big. Because
That's a great metaphor.
Yeah, because it's and it can also bring the worst out in people, which is a shame sometimes, because I feel like everyone's is doing their best. Everyone wants to make something out of it, so it's better to offer a lot of value and give to people, and that's what helped me get this far. I feel like I have a lot to offer. I have a lot of value, and I try to give as much as I can to people, and also I'm not asking anything for return, but generally good people will want to give something in return, and that's how you build a relationship together. So yeah, it can be like the industry can be tough sometimes, but I do think like most people have good intentions. Sometimes they just have better intentions for themselves, more egotistical. But yeah, it's a small world, and since it's an industry that it's like a passion industry, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot of people that have passion for accounting, for example. It's an industry where you can make a lot of money, but no, like there's not a lot of people that when they're young going to be like, I want to be an accountant. Most people are going to be, I want to be a DJ, or I want to be singer, or I want to be a football player, or stuff like that. So when you have an industry or a job like that, there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of passion for it, and also a lot of crazy people that have like tunnel vision, like myself, that really want to make this, and they will give their entire life to this one thing, and they will sacrifice everything in their life to make it. So then, yeah, naturally, it's going to be a lot more competitive. Now you also have the part of music production has become a lot more accessible, a lot easier to make music. So when you look at 30, 40 years ago, when you had to have like studio equipment, like analog gear and all that, very costly. There's a big, how do you say that? We say like a drempel.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the word, maybe a boundary.
Yeah, a big boundary, like in order to get into that market. So yeah, then you need to find like a way in order to stand out, right? Yeah.
So basically, these elements, I guess, inside of the music industry are what can also make it a very tough world, to kind of bring it full circle to what we were speaking about before. And you mentioned that your mentor had helped you kind of, how did he do that to help you understand this world and the tough?
I think in this particular way, it was the way that he just treated everyone. So I think it's nice. And the way I see it is that I think for anyone in their life, when you're at a certain age, and I mean, I can only reflect on me as a man, right? So I'm just going to give my experience. I think as a man, you need to, or you don't need to, but I recommend having friends who are much older than you are and friends who are much younger than you are. So I hang out with friends of mine who are 10 years younger, guys who are like early 20s. They are full of energy. They're like, they just keep on going, right? But they don't really know anything. They think they do, right? Ego is very big, but they don't really know anything yet. I'm like mid-30s. So I have a whole bunch of friends mid-30s. Some of them work jobs. Some of them are entrepreneurs. I try to have my circle friends more toward entrepreneurial side. I just naturally gravitate towards the people who want to make something out of something, right? Ambitious people. It doesn't have to be that they need to be successful in something, but they just want to, make the most out of life, because it's such a short time that we have on this earth. So why not make the best out of it, right? Like optimistic people. And that will also make you a more optimistic person. And my mentor was like that. He was like 10 years older. He's been through the business stuff. He knew everyone in the music industry. And he was so like calm, easy, the way he approached things, just seeing him work and seeing him deal with people in meetings was like, oof, eye-opening, you know, and that's the way I see it. So in this case, we had a lot of conversations, and he really helped me on a personal level. But I've also had a mentor who I barely talked to, but just seeing him in action, the way he spoke to people, the way he handled things, the way he talked to people, the way like real like boss level energy, like, wow, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
So I don't think people need to like go run out there and be like, oh, I need to find a mentor. You can pick and choose. Like you can even choose someone that hates you, that thinks you are the biggest douchebag in the world, doesn't like you at all, but you feel like he has something that you can learn from. He can be your mentor, or she, whatever you want, because you can then sort of learn from the way how they handle themselves in situations, how they can, like, you know, how certain artists are in the studio, like the way they're vibing in the studio. Like maybe some artist that you like has this like way of like walking through studio when they're like jamming, or the way that they snap their fingers, or, you know, and then take inspiration from like, oh, okay, well, you know, how can I give my own twist to what they're doing, and how can I loosen up, you know, and in order to get the results I desire. And I think that's how mentors can and should be, because no mentor is going to be perfect. My mentor also had his flaws. Luckily, he was very self-reflective on it, so he could, you know, he actually admitted it, and we could talk about it. And that's what I loved about him, because he was so open about everything, which I am also. I'm a very open person.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the real value of mentors come into place. And I think finding someone that's like 10, maybe 20 years older than you, that has had the experience, this and that, and for them, you are the young energy, right? And they give you the experience, you give them the energy, because you want to do. You want to go, you have ideas, you know. You're a bit, you know, inexperienced, but that's a good thing, because they could get value from that. And this is how you can build this like mentor-mentee relationship. But I also think it's very important for you as a man or a woman, if you want, to give back to a younger generation and be a mentor for someone else. So I have like young guys around me that I help, and I, you know, we grab coffee, we grab drinks, and they ask me for advice, and I help them in order to become better producers, to become better entrepreneurs. And funny thing is, like, some of my first interns went to work for like really famous DJs. My very, very first intern was a guy from Germany, really nice, talented, like creative guy. And it's like, I think it was like 9 years ago, I think. And now he works for Martin Garrix, which is really cool to see. Wow. And he still works there. Like he's now like marketing director, whatever he's doing. And it's never my intention to help someone and then hope that they can one day return the favor. But it just so happens to be. And it's not as if he's like giving me favors or anything because he's in that position now. But it's great to see that, okay, I've helped someone in the past, you know, to understand a little bit about the business, and they really got that drive and they went for it. And then their internship after the one with me was at like a big record label, Stamped, and now he is very close with them in their team, really integrated, and just like happy to see that, right? Yeah. We don't really talk that often, but it's just cool to see how that can work. It's a small industry. Yeah, and I'm sure when he thinks of you or when he speaks of you, it's in a positive way. Exactly. Yeah. So, but it was never my intention. It was not like, I need to, you know, do that and then get something out of it in return. No, I just give value to someone else. I try to help whenever I can, when I have the time for it, and then, you know, they can do with it what they want. And this is the exact same way as how my first mentor helped me, because this was like a famous DJ. I got to go on tour with him. Like he took me to Ibiza for the first time in my life. It was like, gave me this experience of a lifetime that helped me understand the industry better. And then even though we don't talk much and he doesn't really mentor or coach me one-on-one a lot, I just look at the way he lives his life. And when we meet up at ADE or Miami or stuff like that, when we see each other, we have our chats, and he kept inspiring me. And I always had this vision, even though he's never, ever asked me for anything. I always had the things that he did for me, I hope I can one day return the favor. And that also gives me this energy or this push, and also to pay it forward to younger artists. And like, I wish I could give that experience to someone younger so they can also then pay it forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I like to live my life, and also how I like to run my business. Like to work with people that I enjoy working with and try to pay it forward. And I think if you can take anything from this conversation is, as an artist, I think it's the most important thing as a person, as a human being, is to create and build value, whether that be through amazing productions, amazing music, or just being a good friend, being a good business partner, being a pleasant person to be around. That's a lot of value, right? That's value that people want. It will attract the right people, it will attract the wrong people. But if you build a lot of value and you can give it and not expect anything in return, then I think you're going to have a lot of success in music, a lot of success in business, and a lot of success and happiness in your life. And that's how I try to run my business, my artist career, and my personal life. Yeah, I think like the last thing to reflect it on the label. A lot of people, they might think they need a label, and of course I love it when people release with me. But I think coming back to the value part, if you as an artist build your own value, if you build your own career, if you build your own fan base, then you don't necessarily need a label. And if you build that value, if you build, great releases, a good artist profile, then labels are going to find you because they want to work with you. And then you're building on, you're working on equal playing fields, because you work with a label to grow together. And that's also the type of stuff I look for when I sign artists. Are they doing something on their own? Are they building their own fan base, their own value? And that's always been my philosophy. So with the label, with everything I do, really. And it's treated me well. Sometimes people are going to take advantage of it. You learn over time who the good and the bad people are. I feel like everyone deserves a chance. So I treat everyone equally. But, through experience, you can tell the characters, it shines through quite quickly.
Yeah.
But never let it discourage you, because, you're going to be taken advantage of at some point. But it's a matter of, how do you handle that? Are you going to sit in the corner and mope and like, oh, they treated me so badly? Or are you going to be thankful that they showed you their real character very early on, so that you can just avoid them and then focus your energy on the people who are loving and caring and valuable to you.
Who are definitely out there.
Yes, there's more than that.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more positive people than there are negative. But the thing is, we tend to dwell on the negative. So try to put that away real quick. Make a mental note, but forgive and forget and move forward. And then just be thankful. I would rather have someone treat me badly the first time we meet, than after 3 years of working together when they really can do damage.
Yep.
Because if they show their true character early on, then you can be like, oh, thank you.
Exactly.
Dodge the bullet there. So
yeah.
And I don't hold a grudge in that regard or anything. It's just that, you can see it early on, and
then you just decide not to work with them again. Yeah.
It's very I will always be kind and friendly, but it's like I don't have any interest in then moving forward with anything.
Yeah.
So and they might not have bad intentions, but they might just be looking out for themselves, as everyone usually is. So doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, though.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's really great advice. I'm hearing in our whole conversation that your focus is at all times on, I guess, gaining the experience, but also staying open to possibilities.
Yeah.
Don't where some people might see limits.
Yeah.
Look around and see, hey, maybe there's more possible than I'm thinking of at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful, and I think it's also very inspiring the way you focus on sharing and I guess paying it forward and it requires a kind of trust, I guess, right? That it will come back at a certain time, or you're not even focused on that. You're just part of the.
I'm not really, because I mean, I'm doing great.
Yeah, so it's working.
I don't need more. And the thing is, I'm already full when it comes to work. So
yeah,
I don't need more work. I don't need to do something for someone just to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And I think, that resonates with the people that share those same values.
Yes.
So for me, that's just, it makes me a happier person.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good about myself if I can help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always great to see that other person flourish and that, they are successful in what they do. And if I have done my part to make them more successful or happier or anything, that's good enough for me. But the funny thing is, and that's the paradox, is that usually when you give value to the right people, it always comes back. For some reason, it just always comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful note to end today's podcast on. Wesley, thank you so much for coming onto this episode.
Pleasure.
If you're listening and you have any questions for us or for Wesley, I guess drop them in the comments on Spotify or in the streaming app you're listening on. Is there any final words you'd like to say to artists? Or has it all been said?
Yeah, I think it's all been said. I'd say dream big and don't limit yourself.
Great.
And enjoy the process.
All right. Thank you for listening. See you at the next one.
All right. Bye-bye.